Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Mr. Kannan, I have a confession, what do you say, a praise for you, because the first time I got to know about spoken tutorial at my college, and I used to make very shitty documentation. Okay, so the first time I actually did something on spoken tutorial was a tutorial on LaTeX, and I found it pretty intriguing that you create one base template and then you play around with it. And actually, I scored 96 in my documentation exam, software engineering 101. So, thank you. That's it. So, there are a couple of announcements. So, how many of you guys are actually on Twitter? Twitter? So, why aren't you guys tweeting anything? So, the hashtag is hashtag PyDelhiConf or PyDelhi, and you can subscribe to our Twitter handle as well, which is @PyDelhi. Second thing is the talk which was supposed to happen here, which was real-time web application using Django, Tornado, and Soft.js. It's been the timing has been changed, so it will now happen in the lecture hall 3 in place of functional testing of mobile application using Appium and Python. So right now we have a talk by Mr. Nayak on open source use in DigiLocker architecture. Mr. Nayak is an open source enthusiast with around 20 years of experience. He is currently working as an additional director at NEGT, Ministry of Information and Technology, and is also working as a lead technical architect of DigiLocker as well. I want to give a quick lightning talk, which is a custom now in Python community at PyCon. So you can just quickly register outside. There'll be people. You just need to give the subject name and you'll get registered. You'll get around 5-10 minutes to speak over it. Yeah. So that's it.
I am audible. So I am actually my role to the Government of India is the project director open source. So mostly it's a different role in the Government of India, because for the last few years Government of India was in the actually closed source. So in the first time actually we wrote a policy that is called open source collaboration inside government. That means that government will make their source open. That most of the government applications are actually being not being their source in the public domain. So what we are trying to make as a part of inside government, to make a collaboration happen between you and the government, because as a student most of you don't know how the government works, and there is a real gap between government versus academic versus startups and other technology persons. So mostly government is doing the work inside, not as a part of collaboration with the outside. So mostly my role as a part of in government to drive open source. That is the first point. DigiLocker is my byproduct. DigiLocker is my byproduct as a technical architect of the DigiLocker. We are making DigiLocker in the open source. So the open source and the DigiLocker are both are the part of the system. Coming to DigiLocker, how many of you know DigiLocker? If Google Drive and Dropbox, then what the DigiLocker will solve your problem?
Actually, I tried accessing DigiLocker
Yeah.
since that Digital India and all campaign, but my problem is I was not able to access because it says either you need your Aadhaar number or then you need your thumb impression.
Okay.
So my Aadhaar number, my phone number is not linked to my Aadhaar card. So I was not able to access it. That is why I was curious.
Yeah.
Actually, I was-
Now I have to try to solve why the DigiLocker is. DigiLocker actually being designed as a part of the system. Aadhaar is your identity and your locker is your Aadhaar. That is the first problem as to solve. Yes, what the document will be, government will be issued, that will be based upon your Aadhaar. So that Aadhaar was linking to your document, to your identity. That's a DigiLocker was designed that time. So DigiLocker tries to solve paperless governance. That is the first thing we have to solve. That what is the paperless governance we are talking about? Now your mark sheet is in a physical copy. Your ID proof, your address proof, all are in the physical copy. Means lifelong you will carry your documents in the physical copy, having a bag or a attached briefcase for throughout your career. Throughout your life, you will have that briefcase in your home, and you are having your ID. What do you mean by ID proof by the government? Because all the government documents are your legal documents. That means you carry your driving license, your PAN card, your Aadhaar card, your electronic voter ID, your academic records. Academic records are your 10th certificates, your 12th certificates, your graduation certificates, your professional certificates. So these are 10 documents actually you carry throughout your life. That is one aspect of a physical copy. Then another aspect is you carry that, having that photocopy of the documents also. Another 5-10 copies of that document, that documents. And also throughout your career you will send around 100 copies of the documents to the different institutes, different where you want a government service. So most of the time one side is the government, another side is also a government, another side also maybe some employers, some of the academics, something. So mostly government issues you 10 documents. Whether it is the academic records also, that is also approved by the government. What the problem we tried to solve in the DigiLocker? DigiLocker is a system. One side, there is a government department, they are issuing the physical documents. Then another department, they are also requesting the documents. So further in the digital world, we want to try to solve the problem. Yes, issuer is issuer. Issuer is issuing the documents. That document should link to the requester. Not that our physical copy is scan and uploading. That is where we try to solve. Because yes, there is a Google Drive, there is a Dropbox. Fine, you may scan your documents, also you can keep the document in the Google Drive. Why the DigiLocker is there? The DigiLocker is there, yes, some part you can keep your private of the documents. Then another part, the issuers links to the DigiLocker, they should issue the document to the digitally to you. Then the requester will receive the document from the DigiLocker. That means always your document will be at the issuer, but you may have that legal documents, you may have a signed copy or copy of the documents. But we try to solve, yes, if issuer is issuing a digital copy of the documents, as a requester requesting the documents, yes, only that locker person will link the documents where that particular your driving license or your Aadhaar card, or there is a PAN card, or there is voter ID card, all your academic reports. So mostly the architecture says, yes, there is a DigiLocker, there is a private space, like your Google Dropbox or Google Drive or Dropbox like that. There is a private space, you can keep a photocopy, some document as a scanned copy. E-sign it, that is another aspect of what the advantage we are providing. But we want to link that requester only. Requester can be your educational institutes, requester can be any government department providing the service. That is where the DigiLocker comes. So the DigiLocker tries to solve the world as a part of India as a paperless country. That's where we are now trying to engage all big aids. Big aids means that is the Aadhaar, that is the PAN card, that is the voter ID card. Everybody want track. Now the time has come. You issue the digital certificates of the documents. Further, you have now we are giving the physical copy of the document to the citizen. That's the we are trying to solve the problem. It is one aspect of the DigiLocker. Then second aspect is what we try to build. Now we are trying to build a ecosystem like your payment gateway type sort of things. Now, what is happening in the payment gateway? Now, you can, your cash is in banks, now you are giving to some sellers. What in the digital ecosystem, what we want to try? Now there is one aspect, multiple requesters are there, then multiple issuers. Here now the JNU is now are issuing the physical copy of the certificates to you. Now what we are now telling the JNU, now is the time, now you issue the digital copy of the certificates and you build your repository and you keep your document digital copy of that. Now that link it to the DigiLocker, any JNU students enroll as a part of DigiLocker, he will get the digital copy and he will share the digital copy to any of the requester. It may be a foreign university or it may be any employer in the country. So it will be only a digital copy. What happens in the real situation? Real situation happens, now you are being a person. What happens? You give one application form and also now you are copying the scanned copy of the document to the application form. What happens? Again they will ask you, yes, you give your physical proof as your original documents. and bring it to us, and we will see as a physical copy. Now what is happening, that is also physical copy. It does not guarantee that this physical document is actually issued by the JNU, or the physical copy is actually issued by a particular department. There is something wrong in that physical document. So what we want to try? Yes, there is a digital copy, JNU is a issuer, and TCS is a requester. That document through DigiLocker, as a DigiLocker is a partnership between the JNU and DigiLocker is a partnership between the TCS. So what will happen? The DigiLocker, as a part of giving four functionality, one is fetch the document from the locker, save the document to the locker, issue the document to the locker, and pull the document to the locker. That is the four functionality we have built inside DigiLocker. Yes, we will link that whole things to as a process issuer, process requester. But in between what we are doing, trying to do, yes, it should be ecosystem. It's not the DigiLocker is the only government locker. I think it is the government babu, so we are building only POC. So what we are trying to see, yes, maybe that was the JNU comes up with their own depository, may be tied up with their own academic depository, having their own technical persons, or they may come tied up with other repository providers to keep your own records safe. That is the digital copy of the record. Right now what is happening? Now all 20 years or 30 years document in the JNU library, JNU record room with some almirahs filled up of some real space they are taking, and that some persons are keeping the records. What we are trying? Yes, now make these almirahs in a small space, some terabyte of space, and keep all the digital copy of the record, legally signed, digitally signed, and prove it as it is a legally and authentic document with them. So this is actually the functional part of the DigiLocker. So what we want to try to solve. Now DigiLocker is not only our byproduct. Now we are making it open standards, loosely coupled. Maybe other lockers will be come as a part of this ecosystem. Others repositories should come as a part of the ecosystem, as well as both private and public players should be inside the ecosystem. This is the whole new app, madam. Maybe inside, I think somewhere.
The accessing should be made a little easier.
It has been made. It has been made as a part of mobile registration right now.
Because they, for registration they needed Aadhaar number. I provided the Aadhaar number, then they needed either mobile phone number which is linked to Aadhaar, or you need your thumb impression. Now, we don't have thumb impression, that machine in the house. And if the Aadhaar number is not, if the phone number is not linked to Aadhaar, it is a big headache going to that Aadhaar.
Yeah, that is one of the issues
so
with the.
Then I can't access digital locker at all.
Right now that is being functionality to make the digital locker with the mobile enabled. You can register your account and take the free space available. But as a part of mandate, because I am being the technical architect of the DigiLocker, only thing I go by some mandates. If the mandate is yes, locker is your identity, it proves your identity, because that issuer will always issue the document through your locker. What is your locker ID? That's why the identity is based upon your Aadhaar ID, because only Aadhaar gives you that unique value. Yes, all the documents, whatever the document will be issued to you automatically through Aadhaar. But now it's been really changed. We are making it much more simpler because we are changing it to the mobile, but you have to link your Aadhaar inside that. That is one aspect being changed. So this is the new system having a mobile sort of things. Mostly what we try to do as a product architect, as a product designer, mostly it is a Dropbox. All the features of Dropbox are Google Drive. But what is the difference between the Google Drive and as a DigiLocker product part? What we are making it is legally validated as a part. If you are keeping one document and you want to sign it, so that is a e-sign facility inside that. Yes, you can sign it. Right now, as a person, how many of you know the digital sign? As a part of law, you need to sign a document and it should be legally valid. That is the point. Now that our physical, our original signature, ink signature is legally valid. That's why the digital signature will be legally valid if you have to sign it. So one tedious process was when we are going for a digital sign, it was a dangle. Right now it is based upon the e-sign. E-sign is based upon Aadhaar. E-sign is based upon the Aadhaar. On the fly you would sign it, and after 30 minutes your private key will be destroyed and the document will be with you. And that is the one aspect that Aadhaar gives you the profile. That's why that we have to create the private key and public key.
Can I ask a question?
So mostly another 4 features is available with the DigiLocker. That is called you can fetch any document from the locker to share with anybody, what are the other partner sites, as well as save the document to the locker. Again, that is always from that facility from the partner sites, who is the partners with us as a part of our own API, using our own APIs, and you can pull the document and save it to the locker. Then another 2 aspects, that is called major aspect, that is called issuing the documents to the locker. If you are doing the other some documents to be pushed to the locker based upon the Aadhaar only, that is the push the document to the locker, that is the push API. Then another is pull the documents, means most of the cases we don't have the Aadhaar based documents. For the last few years, that 10 years of the digital movement in the country, there are few databases having a huge database, but they have not been Aadhaar seeded. So that's why there is a pool facility available inside the locker. But problem is now the digital mandate, as these providers should provide the documents to the digital side and provide it to you. That will be legally valid. So these are the locker features, actually that is the inside of the locker. So definitely there are the 2 parts. One is my private part, storage space. Another is the issuer storage space. Issuer will issue the document to you. Where that issue documents will be, you can see your issue documents if there is a Aadhaar seeded documents with you. Otherwise, you pull the document and link it. So it is mostly a aggregator of things. Now the technical part of the things as a DigiLocker. So mostly we are being designing the documents. We look at that it should be a purely the new technology and everything should be the API based. So as a part of the challenge to build the product, and as a part of that all things should be on the API based. So that's why that I say that this is the product designed on the API architecture. But challenge, what is the challenge actually? It's not the challenge designing, is the challenge of keeping your documents as a private storage and giving you 1 GB of space. And the challenge is much more if you target around 1 crore accounts and even if you providing the 100 MB of space. So, and also keeping the storage as a 3 replication part, we are making it as a, so it is about 18 petabyte of storage that is currently designed, and also the making how the 18 petabyte of storage being as a part of underneath architecture, as well as keeping your 1 crore records as a part of your identity, as well as making that 1 crore keep, even if you keep around 10 documents or 20 documents, you multiply around 20 crore records as well as your logs. So this is a challenge you have to solve as a part of the DigiLocker architecture. So mostly that whole things, one is API based, another is totally other things like storage as well as database, both needs to be loosely coupled also. So mostly we designed the application based upon horizontal scaling, not the vertical scaling. It's a purely a horizontal scaling of the things. So mostly that 2 aspects. One is the database, how the database needs to be performance oriented as well as horizontal scale. Then another is the file storage space, that needs to be technically, it should be stored and support around that type of storage space, around 5 petabyte of storage as well as keeping the 3. So it is a 18 petabyte of storage. So design the architecture, it's mostly a horizontal and performance oriented. You have to make the application much more performance oriented. So that mostly the layering approach as well as the underneath architecture is scaled, horizontal scale. So 2 aspects we have to look at that. So mostly the architecture based upon the ClusterFS as a part of storing, as well as the MariaDB as a database layer. Now we are coming of MongoDB as a part of logging. Keep our own logs under Mongo. So there is a few things under underneath the architecture. Otherwise, all things you know that how the HA proxy we are using as a part of load balancer or virtual machines. Then Apache Observer and as a Varnish cache as a part of caching the whole things. Then application servers, mostly all are Apache servers. Then in between, then for session management, Memcache we are using. Then Python as a part of things, because whole application is based on the PHP. But only thing is I am into the PyDili, so the mostly our backend jobs are actually in the Python. So mostly Gearman we are using to make our own job server to run the Python scripts to create analytics and other things. So these are actually, we are all community based deployment, mostly CentOS, Ubuntu, MariaDB and GloucesterFS, all are in the community page. We have not purchased any software right now. Not in our own plan that we don't purchase anything. Let it be run on the purely commodity hardware as well as community software. That is our plan as a part of this, and these are the components rightly used right now. Now, looking at the security aspect of DigiLocker, that is the one aspect. Every time people question me in every forums how that the architecture is being security sort of things. So, if you ask me this type of question, generally I say that yes, whatever the way we want to protect that, we try to protect it, because end of the day it is your user ID and password. If you make the password weak, then definitely somebody will hack your accounts. So mostly in the government security procedures, we have to design the passwords like this. You have to have a one capital letter, you are having one small letters, you are having a special character, and you have two minimum 8 characters. So generally when we design the DigiLocker and we put the registrations, so around what happens generally that if people are coming around 5,000, only 1,000 or 500 to be enabled to match that password policy. So this is actually a problem, even if your application is security certified or other things, but when you look at designing a product and if people are coming and to the registration process and coming out of the registration without doing that type of complex passwords. So it is a issue, but some way we have managed to make it little simpler, and somewhere now we are having per day it is around 2,000 something registrations happens. So mostly that layering is sort of things as a part of, but as a part of the RAID, it is the fourth part is looking after the data center things, because we are being deployed the whole architecture in the cloud. So mostly as a team we are looking at the application security and the vulnerability in the application. So the challenges is that layering approach, but there are two areas. One is data on rest and data on transit. So mostly when you talk about the data on transit, means that from the data on rest to your desktop. That is where we say that there are the provisions we have put, mostly SSL security encrypted channel. But when you talk about the data on rest, then we talk about the database as well as file storage. So mostly you look at that up to 9, generally up to 8. This is the actually data center facilities where they provide us the space and the cloud environment. But generally we look at as a team to designing and optimizing the product. So we look at point 9 and 10. Mostly application security, we engage third party as a part of our engagement to do our own application security testing and vulnerability. But as a team, generally we think yes, that when you are looking at your home, you should have looked at the security first. So most of the time that per day basis, it is our own team to go for a security scanning of our own codes. That should be as a part of your own blood, as a part of development process. You should keep the security as a part of your own in-house things, because you have to do the coding and you have to do the security testing and you follow the procedures. Otherwise, what will happen generally in the our own deployment process, we never wait for some things third party will do and deploy it, but generally in our own practice, during the development process, we go for the scanning and we deploy it. So it is a continuous deployment process we follow. So this is the whole bunch of the designing as a part of the flow up to your documents and your storage is the 6th layer of the whole architecture. It's not the in between, but up to 6th layer is the where your database and your file stores there. So mostly we are not following any encrypted design right now, because if you go for encryption, then definitely will kill the whole application performance, because it will grow another 35% over burden to us. So definitely we are following as a part of this up to 5 we are following the security sort of things, but the data on rest is actually in the purely database and purely file storage. Then what is our own initiative in the open source? That is the critical point as a part of as a open source initiative that we are doing in the open source initiative inside government. Then Python is our second language. Python is our second language on the product design, because In the front end we are using PHP, but as a Python, Python is using our own backend jobs. Then also now all our developers being to be Python ready within 1 month as a secondary language. Python developers are there, but every developer will have to contribute to the Python as a part of this Python move. So everybody, PHP and Python, there will be the two languages they will have to learn. That is our own initiative. Plus, we are also promoting as a few years in my interest, ERP inside government. That is the inside government. In the one is that hospital ERP we got. It is in the Python. It got the national award this year. So that is one of the ERP in rural development, ERP in the police, and ERP in the hospital. That is the where the Python we are being engaged as a part of my team. So mostly as a PyDilly, I look at something being as a part of the PyDilly member. So I look at something in the government, how the collaboration should happen between you and the government. So definitely we are coming up with a contribution policy which acknowledge you people as academic and students. Yes, your contribution to the government as also your will acknowledge your contribution. That is the one part, because we look at something volunteers, we look at something contributors. Yes, some way that needs a much more because you are being much more talented guys, and you are with the technology every time. So definitely what will happen that bridge we want to make it much more sort of things. Yes, that should be we are coming up with the GitHub type of things in the government that is called open course, in where that will be put our own course, because DigiLocker will be the first code we will have to make it public. This is our own. Thank you. Any question?
Yeah, several questions actually. Let me start with one. What is your permissions model?
So suppose I have my college certificate, I want Accenture to see it, but not say TCS to see it.
Yeah.
How does that work?
It is up to you. You will share every time. If there is a requester, the requester you will share. Like there is a button that is called share with the requester. The requester will have to partner with us. It's not that I will not give anything to that particular requester.
Okay, so it's always...
First thing is you can share your document from your DigiLocker via email. It is up to you, you can share that email.
Yeah.
Then second thing is now we are building the partnership. There is a requester, there is a issuer. If your document is in your private space, you want to be a requester, so automatically our pop-up will come up in their box. They will have to put their DigiLocker button.
So for anybody, including government organizations, it needs my permission
Right.
to be okay.
Right.
Okay, great. What was my other question? Yeah, so how does e-signing with Aadhaar work? Meaning, what do you need? You need the Aadhaar number, that's it?
Right. When you do the e-signing is a dynamic API. It is connected to the CH, Certificate Authority. They provide the APIs. What we will do? They ask for the Aadhaar.
Right.
So automatically based upon your Aadhaar, then Aadhaar will provide your KYC. What is the signed document? Your name, your designation, sort of things.
But how does that work? So suppose my Aadhaar number is compromised, someone gets to know
It is the dynamic way. It's the dynamic way. That time it will ask you OTP. Then your KYC will be generated. That KYC will automatically that CA will take, and it will build the certificate, your certificates. So
No,
that is their part.
That's fair enough. But suppose someone knows my Aadhaar number, what else do they have to know? So
No. That is the same way. It is the KYC. Either you do by auth, or you do the
or it will send an
you do the
OTP to
mobile
the phone.
OTP.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
कुछ हम लोग सजेशन ले लें सर कि डिजिटल इंडिया में क्या क्या करना चाहिए, सजेशन ले लें।
Any suggestion for digital
For
India?
us, what we need to do for digital India, what are your wish list?
First, we should stop using
Yes, the
Gmail and
access
Hotmail
to this
accounts
should
on
be
government
made a
offices.
little easier, that's all. Because if you want to generate OTP, it again goes on the mobile, and that mobile has to be registered with the Aadhaar. Our problem is, since the Aadhaar, the mobile number is not linked to Aadhaar at all. So I am not able to access any of these.
नहीं as a part of DigiLocker designing, we have changed to access to the DigiLocker via mobile right now. The registration process is fine. Now you can go into the registration process without giving the Aadhaar. But two things. One is DigiLocker facility, that is called 1 GB of space basic facility. Now when you say yes, your identity needs to be proved inside DigiLocker, then you will have to go through Aadhaar verification. If there is Aadhaar verification, there is a 3 type of Aadhaar verification. One is your BIOS, second is your mobile, third is your demographic data. Now we have already provided the demographic data. You can verify yourself with your demographic, your name, date of birth, your gender. So if you give 3 parameters, automatically Aadhaar will verify yes or no. So on the basis of that, we will identify yes, you are the person being Aadhaar verified. Then you will get the premium facility. What is the premium facility we call? We call premium facility means you will get, until or unless you are having Aadhaar verified, you can't do e-sign. So e-sign is dependent on the IT Act law. Yes, you have to provide your Aadhaar. That is the one thing. Then we say yes, the particular department Aadhaar will push your document, or in which way Aadhaar will push the documents to the locker. That is one part. Yes, definitely your Aadhaar number based upon your Aadhaar number. So what the locker ID is, we say that other locker ID is your Aadhaar number. Otherwise, we don't have any identity proof. That's why the Aadhaar gives you that facility. They identify that you are the person. That is why the locker having a mandate to have that Aadhaar number. But somewhere now we are coming up with one idea. Yes, let the person can have an account inside their locker and get that 1 GB of space. But if you go with the further services, then you have to have a Aadhaar. Okay?
Actually we have something kit, Digital India kit, in which t-shirts are there. So one suggestion, one kit. So first to madam, आप बोले कुछ कोई
I
suggestion?
have a suggestion. All government officials should stop using Gmail and Hotmail immediately.
Yes, sure. We are writing it down, so no problem.
And
There is another issue I can say.
yes. See, point is, I am seeing every day that Google is reading my emails and sending me related information, and people who are responsible for the country and security and policy making, and if their mails are compromised, and I'm worried about it. So whenever I see those emails somewhere,
That's a different issue altogether. And if you still use Gmail, you can still have PGP keys and all. So it's a different issue, you can take it offline.
No,
I was
certainly we
answering
have
to that
write it
Digital
down.
India wala thing.
It's fine. It's actually in the law. It's fine. It's email usage is actually in the law.
Actually,
Every government
one
officer should
policy is
use
also
the government email system.
there. One policy is also there for that one.
But somewhere that if I am not doing, then I am the person
That is
responsible.
the
But it is in the law.
problem from different side. Policy is there, everything is there, but some. Okay, we already wrote it down. Anything else, please?
Sir, one question. Actually, this is related to the practical use of this digital locker system. Actually, whenever we are working, we are using this thing, there is one issuer and one requesting party. If I am using my digital locker, then how the requesting party can use my documents? What I have to provide to that party, or what I have to provide the issuer? What thing we have to provide in this case? And who is the responsible digital depository in this case, our documents?
You are from JNU?
Yes.
Now you look at JNU. JNU is a issuer issuing documents of my mark sheets. JNU is a issuer issuing the mark sheet to the student. So in the case, JNU is a depository of mark sheet of the students. Fine? Issuer as well as depositor means he is keeping that copy of the mark sheets with him. So you may put your mark sheet maybe with another depositor who provide you that security of sort of thing like NSDL, CDSL or any private person. But right now your document is with you. So one part is you are issuing the digital certificates to the students. Now document always with you, first thing. Only your partnership will be with the DigiLocker. Then as a student, if I registered in the DigiLocker, what I can do? If you are being the partner, I can pull your documents. Pull your documents, I may have a copy of your documents, but that document can be a link to my DigiLocker. That is the one aspect. Now one side, I pull your documents, and keep a link of the documents. Always the document will be pulled from the your repository because you are being the partner to the DigiLocker. Now other side is there is a requester. Requester may be some employer. I say there is a TCS. Generally, that requester will be another partner to the DigiLocker. Then one requester will have an application. One application he says yes, there is a DigiLocker bottom. You will have to have a DigiLocker bottom inside the application. When the person fill up the online application form, he will fetch the document from the DigiLocker. He will having an option fetch the document from the DigiLocker. Then automatically what will happen? That pop-up will come up, and you as a person, I am the person, I will be authenticated to the system of the DigiLocker, and I will share the particular document of the JNU certificate to the requester. Then automatically what will happen that time? One is what you want to share with him. One is the document resides in the JNU, or there is a document inside the private copy. So there are two aspects. If the document is issuing from the JNU every time the requester, then it is guaranteed the 100% guarantee that this document is not fake, and it is being fetched from the JNU depository to the TCS.
The requester must have a button on the
Right. The requester cannot fetch without your consent at that time. It's like your payment gateway.
multiple option is there. Sometimes you are filling the application for UPSC and there are multiple documents they present.
Right.
That is what
Every time you have to give the consent.
every time we have to
Here, if the person will give the consent.
consent every time.
Right.
We have to go for digital locker button and then we fetch the document.
Then you will fetch the.
And then link the document.
Right.
Okay.
That is where we are talking about the privacy of the documents.
Oh, yeah.
Without any your consent, nobody will fetch the document from here. It is your locker. You will have to operate like a payment gateway.
No, even now the MHRD talking about issuing the all the certificate in the terms of digital certificate.
Right. That I am into that same committee of the NADEL, the National Academic Depository. Now the National Academic Depository, if they will be built your educational depository, again that will be linked to the DigiLocker as a depository.
And what about my existing document, for example, from earlier, as on date today, earlier from that, I have physical document with me. I have to scan the document and then submit in the display.
That is one aspect we have to deal as a part of further. Yes, you can e-sign the document, but as a part of your original document, whether the JNU will verify or not, that is the another aspect. If you put there and e-sign it and again give to the JNU, yes, JNU says yes, this is the document issued to the particular person, and keep again that copy. This is called, we call it crowdsourcing sort of thing. Now nobody is agreeing right now. Now our first aspect is let the issuers be provide the digital copy. Now what is happening right now? Now JNU giving a mark sheet or CBSE giving a mark sheet on the you provide your roll number, you give your date of birth and your year of passing. So automatically CBSE give you a mark sheet on the HTML template. But can you trust it as a legal way? It is not be trustable because there is a disclaimer on that.
No, but we have the authenticity to verify the mark sheet from CBSE side.
Right.
The document they are providing by giving the roll numbers, we are able to authenticate the document from there. So the digital locker will be able to fetch the document.
That's why we got talking about the partnership and providing the digital data. Then we are talking about yes, if you are giving the digital data, what is the legal validity? If it is the legal validity, you sign it digitally.
They have to sign. No?
They have to sign. That's it.
So next one, please.
So basically, like you said, that the data encryption, you are not taking care of encryption as of now. So like, what is the guarantee that government is not spying? I mean, there is a possibility of sharing private data on private files and private things also. So what is the guarantee that government is not spying on this document? Like you said that there is no encryption as of now. So and if not,
I am not doing it. You can do it. You can do the encryption as a part of any lots of tools are available. You do encryption and do keep the documents. Our part is let that government, that issuers who are issuing the document, that only lies with their side. They will link up with us. They will link up. Our major focus is yes, issuers issue the document, digital signed and link it to the REA. Now you are having the private documents, you keep it in the digital. You are not keeping it in the Google Drive. Whether you are encrypting or decrypting, that is the first question. You are doing anything?
yes, I mean there are different tools at certain levels.
You do it. That is the first point. Now you are keeping your private documents inside Google Drive, inside Dropbox, inside SkyDrive. You are not asking the same question to them.
No, that's a different thing.
No, it's not. Now you are keeping your photo.
Let me put it this way. Let's say that okay, I have put a very difficult password to my account, right? But still, if you are storing it in a plain text, you can still see it, right? So I mean, if you are not putting any sort of encryption from your side, that means it is open to all, right? From your side.
That's the point he's making. No? That's also true of Google Drive.
That is true about Google Drive. Now, this is the private space. What is the value of the document for me? Nothing.
What will government do with the?
Now your data is always with the repository. Now we are coming with rules and regulations for keeping these data. We are coming up building an ecosystem. We are coming up building something like your payment gateway. That is the rules and regulations for RBI. Now we are coming up with the DigiLocker rules and regulations how to keep the data of the repository. Like your data with the JNU, your data with the CBSE. It's all open data right now. Frankly speaking, all open data. You can get your PAN data. You can get your CBSE mark sheet. You can get your driving license details. You can get your anything now in the open.
These are all public documents.
Whether it's a public document? No.
Why?
That's the point. There is no privacy rules. There is no regulations how to keep the data in the digital world. It's not there. Now we are coming up with the rules and regulations.
Sir, can we have a linking? We can link the servers of all these government.
We are now having a discussion the last month with the JNU, DU, CBSE. Now we are doing it.
Instead of developing our servers, we can link the servers and we can provide.
That's the provider. We are talking about providers to come, and you may not have the technical ability, but the providers should do. But providers should follow the rules and regulations.
Lunch time is there,
Okay.
and we have
Okay, thanks.
I have a suggestion for Digital India.
Actually, we have very limited kit. Sorry for that. We wanted to have lot of things, but
Chaliye,
so that we can give to everybody. Sorry.